The following is a review for critical, analytical, and educational purposes only, and is protected under Article 17 and 107 in the United States Fair Use Code. This video is not an infringement on copyright. Please enjoy the video.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Trilbee, and let's not beat around the bush here. 2014 was a great year for movies. I can't remember the last time a year had so few complaints in terms of downright bad films. Don't get me wrong, there were some terrible films, but we'll get to those at a later date. Right here, right now, I'm going to be counting down my top 10 best movies of 2014.
First, a few quick caveats. I live in the UK, so I can only go by UK release dates. Movies such as Birdman, Selma, Whiplash, and The Theory of Everything, while very good movies, are 2015 films in the UK, so those aren't eligible for this countdown. Also, 2013 holdovers that were released in the UK in 2014 don't count, such as The Wolf of Wall Street, Her, and 12 Years a Slave. Understood? Good.
Now, before we get started on the list proper, I'm going to go through a few honourable mentions, just a few films that didn't quite make the cut, starting with
Big Eyes. Working off the foundations of a compelling true story, Big Eyes brings out the best in Tim Burton, who, when all is said and done, is capable of great films when he can personally relate to the source material. Thanks to career best work from Amy Adams, along with a memorably larger-than-life performance from Christoph Waltz, Big Eyes manages to convey relevant and compelling themes through the lenses of an experienced creative team. If the eyes are the windows to the soul, then Big Eyes demonstrates that Burton still has some flair and passion left in him. No Johnny Depp, no goofy clown makeup characters, no stop motion, and no unnecessary manipulation of the source material. Just great filmmaking from Burton. The Box Trolls. I've been indifferent when it comes to Leica animations. While I really appreciated Paranorman, I can't deny that it's pretty bland in terms of its characters with the lame attempts at humour. However, The Box Trolls is a genuinely great animated movie with impeccable craftsmanship, interesting characters, great vocal performances, and without a doubt one of the best villains of the year in the form of Archibald Snatcher, voiced by Ben Kingsley. Without getting into spoilers, his character's motivation, as well as the way he exits the movie, is just perfect. It also has a wonderful moral, which is always good, just great gross out enjoyable humour, and a great movie for the whole family. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. While I think Rise of the Planet of the Apes is the stronger film thanks to its stronger narrative and human characters, Dawn compensates with pure technical horsepower when it comes to style, special effects, music, and just its general scope. Great visual storytelling as well as well thought out social commentary go hand in hand with one of the smartest blockbusters of the year, which is not afraid to shy away from brutal moments to hit home authentic moments of drama. Apes together strong indeed. Grand Piano. Frodo Baggins plays a concert pianist who is told through an earpiece during a live concert that if he gets a single note wrong, he will be killed. How is that for a compelling premise? In a year with low-budget, high-concept films such as The Brilliant Lock, Grand Piano was the best, with incredible camera work, some of the best editing of the year in terms of both visuals and sound, and career-best work from Elijah Wood and John Cusack. A nail-biting thriller that barely gets a note wrong, and it's destined to become a cult classic. Life Itself. Oh look, another year where the Academy Awards don't even nominate the best documentary of the year, how predictable. I was pretty much guaranteed to like Life Itself right off the bat because of its subject matter, but its incredible personal execution caused me to just fall in love with it. It's also the only movie of 2014 where I cried twice. Honestly, this film had me blubbering like a baby, and I am not ashamed to admit it. Life Itself gets an unabashed thumbs up from me, and rest in peace Roger Ebert, you brilliant man. And finally, Paddington. If there's one regret I have in 2014, it's my treatment of the movie Paddington. While I was entirely justified in my pre-release bashing of the film due to its terrible slapstick-focused marketing campaign, I was genuinely surprised by just how great the finished film turned out to be. You heard that right, Paddington is a great movie, with heart, style, a brilliant cast, a moving story, as well as very strong progressive political themes. While animated movies in my proper top 10 ultimately beat it out for best family movie of 2014 in general, I can say without hesitation that Paddington is the best live action family movie of 2014, and I never expected to say that when I first saw the trailer.
So with those honourable mentions out of the way, we can get to the list proper. Now let's start off with number 10 in my top 10 best movies of 2014.
Number 10. The Babadook.
I'll be honest, the Babadook didn't scare me. It honestly didn't. I'll admit that's because I've become incredibly jaded to horror films, dark themes and subject matter in film in general, so I hardly get scared by anything in film anymore, so I'm not really going to blame the Babadook. But having said that, the Babadook has a lot more going for it than just purebred horror. This is a story about a troubled mother who is starting to break down under the weight of survivor's guilt and a problem child, and her dark side starts to manifest itself as a children's storybook monster, the Babadook. Jennifer Kent's directorial debut is an incredibly thought-provoking look into a troubled woman's psyche, and while it didn't really get under my skin or cause me to stay awake at night, the Babadook stuck with me because of its affecting themes and clever storytelling nevertheless. Add on top of that Oscar-caliber sound design, Essie Davis giving without question the best female-led performance of the year, yes, better than all of the female actors currently in contention at the Oscars, no joke, and Noah Wiseman finding the perfect balance between being a child who you just want to murder, but somehow managing to turn that around near the end to become an endearing hero. In the end, while you can try and fight your personal demons, sometimes the more you fight, the stronger they get. Sometimes you just have to learn to live with them. If it's in a word, or if it's in a look, you can't get rid of the Babadook.
Number 9. Pride.
Pride tells one of those stories that seems like it should be common knowledge, but hardly anyone actually knew about it before the release of this movie retelling. Pride centres on the lesbian and gay support the miners activists who raised money for a group of striking miners during the 1980s, and if you keep up to date with your movie news, Pride is the film that received a 15-minute standing ovation when it debuted at Cannes Film Festival last year. Despite being a true story from 30 years ago, Pride is just as relevant as ever, and while its themes and approach might be a bit on the nose, while there still exists irrational bigotry, hatred and homophobia in 2014, now 2015, sometimes a hit on the nose is just the right approach. It has a great ensemble cast, scenes that will make you laugh, cheer and cry, probably all at the same time, and you'll just have fun watching Pride.
Number 8. How to Train Your Dragon 2.
In the past, DreamWorks have had a great track record when it comes to sequels. Shrek 2 is leaps and bounds better than Shrek 1, Kung Fu Panda 2 somehow made the insanely quirky lightning strike twice, and How to Train Your Dragon 2 is an absolute home run. The first movie was already pretty incredible, but somehow the sequel manages to improve upon it, with a moving central relationship, breathtaking animation, and even a few moments where the movie slows down to let the emotions and character beats sink in. To see an animated action family movie have such respect and trust in its younger viewers to go with that approach is commendable, and the movie is all the better for it. And I never thought I'd say this, but Gerald Butler almost made me cry. How does a giant axe-wielding, dragon-riding, Scottish-sounding Viking somehow make my eyes well up? Oh god. Anyway, I cannot wait for part 3. This franchise is going from strength to strength, so let's see if it can keep it up.
Number 7. The Imitation Game.
Based on the true story of Alan Turing cracking the unbreakable German Nazi code during World War II, Benedict Cumberbatch gives one of the best performances of his already sterling career, and I'm sure his recent Oscar nomination will not be his last. The Imitation Game had the odds in its favour from the beginning by basing itself on a fascinating and incredible individual, but thankfully the story was also placed in the hands of incredible filmmakers, a stellar cast, and a brilliant production team. It's also a movie with an incredibly strong emotional emotional core and brings to light one of the biggest personal injustices of the 20th century, the downfall of Alan Turing. Seeing him in his final days is devastating, but it's something that needs to be known about. Alan Turing was one of the most influential and important individuals of the past century, but the ultimate irony was that he was condemned because his indisputable contributions to the Allies in World War II were so secretive in nature that nobody could know about the impact he made for a long time. He had to take that secret to his grave, and he ultimately did. The Imitation Game is one of the best British films of 2014, and is a movie that does one of the most influential people of the 20th century great justice.
Number 6. Gone Girl.
One of the most talked about movies of 2014 for all of the right reasons, David Fincher's adaptation of the book of the same name, Gone Girl, is one of the most thoughtful, honest depictions of suburban relationships through metaphor that I have seen in a long time. Of course, the movie goes in unexpected directions that make Gone Girl a great mystery thriller as well. Rosamund Pike was a revelation in the movie as Amazing Amy, and Ben Affleck proves once again why he is a force to be reckoned with in Hollywood. But Gone Girl works so well because of its terrific screenplay by Gillian Flynn, who also wrote the book. Deftly deconstructing the suburban pantomime that is acting like a happy family, Gone Girl isn't just a satire of modern relationships and the guilty before proven innocent approach of right-wing tabloid news. It's mimicry. Now that should sound some alarm bells for our culture.
Number 5. Guardians of the Galaxy.
James Gunn and Marvel Studios reminded audiences worldwide this year just how much fun the movies could be. Yes, as much as I appreciate thought-provoking films about the human condition, mystery films, thrillers, etc, etc, god damn does Guardians of the Galaxy just make me so friggin' happy. It feels so alive, so vibrant, so confident in itself, and I have a smile on my face from beginning to end. Well, almost beginning to end. I say almost because whenever I'm not smiling, I'm close to tears because of a gun-toting raccoon and his talking tree friend. James Gunn got me emotionally attached to a CGI raccoon voiced by Bradley Cooper and a tree that can only say one sentence voiced by Vin frickin' Diesel. How amazing is that? That's the power of the movies. It looked great, it sounded great, it had great jokes, great emotions, great characters, great performances. Oh god damn it, it's just a great movie, and another home run for Marvel Studios.
Number 4. The Double.
Can we please start appreciating Richard Ayoade more as one of the most ridiculously talented people in the world? A great comedic talent, a great writer, great actor, great director. God damn it, Richard, save some talent for the rest of us, you son of a bitch. Sorry. Anyway, Ayoade directs and co-writes this British black comedy where Jesse Eisenberg goes into work one day to discover that his doppelganger has been employed. Darkly funny, brimming with wit, and a brilliant Oscar-worthy led performance by Eisenberg as well as the very underrated Mia Wasikowska, The Double is one of the best movies of 2014 that nobody is talking about. I won't say any more, check it out for yourself, be surprised, but this is a really, really great film. Check it out as soon as you can.
Number 3. The Lego Movie.
Remember when we all heard that Warner Brothers were making a Lego movie? Remember how almost everyone assumed that it would be a recipe for disaster? Well, here we are, decrying the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences for not nominating it for Best Animated Film. And for good reason. The Lego Movie is simply terrific, with a great animation style, entertaining characters, a great plot parodying the Chosen One narrative that we've grown so accustomed to, as well as a sense of controlled energy behind the entire enterprise. But it's the incredible ending that really escalated the Lego Movie from a great family-friendly animated film to something truly special. A movie that favours understanding and compassion rather than violence and needless spectacle. Something incredibly personal yet infinitely relatable to anyone who either has a kid or was a kid. I won't spoil it for those of you who still don't know that everything is awesome, but I will say this. The line that Emmett says when asked what he would say to President Business is, Without question, the single best line of 2014, a line so full of pathos, meaning in and out of context, and showing that Phil Lord and Chris Miller, despite their filmography comprising of mainstream comedies, are some of the smartest and most well-meaning screenwriters working in Hollywood today. The Lego Movie isn't just awesome like everything, it's spectacular like very few.
Number 2. X-Men: Days of Future Past.
After the critical backlash of X-Men 3 and X-Men Origins Wolverine, it seemed like the X-Men franchise was in a state of ruin. However, in 2011 came X-Men First Class, a smartly constructed prequel that also made it into my top 3 films of 2011. It only made sense to combine the new cast with the old cast, and they did so in spectacular fashion with Days of Future Past. The best comic book movie of 2014 was smart, action-packed, entertaining, tense, exciting, and all of that good stuff, with clever, dynamic visual storytelling and stellar performances by James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender. Honestly, if the Oscars weren't so adverse to comic book films, I could see James McAvoy nominated for Best Lead Actor, as he really is incredible here. The time-travelling concept is put to great use, Bryan Singer's action has drastically improved since X-Men 2, and it is all held together by a brilliant screenplay by Simon Kinberg. An excellent blockbuster.
Okay folks, here we go, the number 1 film of 2014. Now in the past my number 1 choices have been criticised for being too mainstream or for just being comprised solely of blockbuster films. For example, in 2010 my number 1 film was Toy Story 3. In 2011 it was Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. In 2012 it was Avengers. In 2013 it was Pacific Rim. So, you know, there's a sort of precedence there, I guess. But I don't just pick the highest grossing film of the year or one of the highest grossing, just plop it in the number 1 position. A lot of thought goes into these top 10 lists. I don't come to that decision lightly. It's number 1 for a very good reason. But for this year, 2014, my number 1 film of the year is not the highest grossing film of the year. In fact, it's not even in the top 10. It's not even in the top 100 or the top 200. In fact, according to Box Office Mojo, it is the 234th highest grossing film of the year. So is that not anti-mainstream enough for you? Is that hipster for you? Is that what you want, ladies and gentlemen? Well, anyway, without further ado, my number 1 film of the year is a UK independent art house film about a man with a very unconventional head.
Number 1. Frank.
For most of 2014, it has been a 2-horse race between X-Men Days of Future Past and Frank for the best movie of 2014, and what made it difficult is that aside from Michael Fassbender wearing drastically questionable headgear, they couldn't be any more different. One is the 7th installment in a multi-billion-dollar franchise, whereas the other is an indie flick that takes inspiration from the life of musician Frank Sidebottom. Frank is both a celebration of the abstract, of the different, of the new, while also acting as a sort of satire by demonstrating the damage unhinged creativity can cause to someone. It's also one of the few films whose emphasis on social media is well handled, so a movie like Frank would not have worked 5 or 10 years ago. It's a great dark comedy that slowly starts to unravel and spiral out of control, but so smartly and so deftly that you won't even realise it's happened until it's too late. It takes you on an incredible emotional journey that's made more enjoyable by an amazing cast that are masters of comedic timing, led by a career best performance by Michael Fassbender. It leads up to an ending that's profound, endearing, and the revelation of just why Frank does what he does and what's led him on his life path is so perfect, bittersweet, and actually pretty darn sad, but so very, very beautiful. Frank is the best movie of 2014, and hardly anyone knows that it exists.
Here it is, my most likable song ever. Coca-Cola, lipstick ring, go dance all night, kiss me, just kiss me Nefertiti.
This is your most likable song ever?
Yeah,
People will love it.
So there you have it, folks. Those are my top 10 films of 2014. Now, before we wrap up here, let's go to some of my fellow patrons who have contributed to the show on Patreon and have given me their top 10 films of 2014. First of all, let's go for Jack, who has a WordPress blog and a YouTube channel. You can find links to those in the description below. Check him out. He's a really cool guy. And you'll see his list on the screen. Number 10, How to Train Your Dragon 2. Number 9, The Babadook. Number 8, Captain America the Winter Soldier, a film that wasn't on my list, but I did really like it. Number 7, The Grand Budapest Hotel, another film not on my list, but I also really liked, and I'm glad that Wes Anderson is having a lot of award success with it. Number 6, X-Men Days of Future Past. Number 5, Pride. Number 4, Gone Girl. We share some very similar interests. I like this guy. And number 3, Starred Up. Now that's another UK independent film where Jack O'Connell is in a UK prison. I reviewed it previously. I did a mini review a few months ago. Very good film, very well filmed, and a great performance by Jack O'Connell, who really had a breakout year with 71, Unbroken, and of course Starred Up. Great actor. Number 2, we have Guardians of the Galaxy, and number 1, the Lego Movie. There's a lot of crossover there with our list, and that's really cool stuff. And yeah, it just proves that fun can really trump the day when you have the Lego Movie, Guardians of the Galaxy, and of course Starred Up, because an adult UK independent drama that's set in a prison is all fun and games. So okay, thank you very much for contributing to that, Jack. Great stuff. And we also have Dean, who contributed to my last top 10, and he's given me another top 10. Awesome stuff. Number 10, we have Interstellar, another great film. You can see that review on my website. I wasn't quite all over it like many people were, but it's a great cinematic spectacle. Number 9, The Inbetweeners 2, another great UK film. This was a great year for UK cinema. Of course, there was Postman Pat the movie, but there was also things like Starred Up, Paddington, and Inbetweeners 2. Paddington is the next film on the list. Number 7, 12 Years a Slave. I wasn't going by 2014 holdovers, but Dean was, which is completely fine. We all have our own criteria, so I'm just sticking to mine. 12 Years a Slave, a great film, I think maybe not entirely deserving of a Best Picture win, but still a very good film in my eyes. Number 6, X-Men Days of Future Past. Number 5, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, one of my honourable mentions, great film. 4, The Imitation Game. 3, The Lego Movie. 2, Guardians of the Galaxy, and 1, Gone Girl. So Dean and Jack in their top 4 have a lot of crossover. Gone Girl, Guardians of the Galaxy, and the Lego Movie. So this is kind of a year where many people actually shared similar interests in terms of what the best films were, in terms of mainstream audiences at least. Lego Movie, Guardians, Gone Girl, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Interstellar, X-Men, and things like that. Some great crossover there, and those are great films. If you're going to be rooting for films in your top 10, I can't fault those. Those are some very good top 10 lists. Thank you very much, Dean, and thank you very much, Jack. You'll find links to their YouTube channels or their blogs or whatever in the description below. I'm going to put this down because it won't turn off. So, ladies and gentlemen, now that you've heard from Dean and Jack, what are your top 10 lists for 2014? You don't have to go for the whole 2014 no holdovers type thing. Just go with your personal list or your top 5 or whatever. Just let me know what you enjoyed most throughout the entire year. If you'd like to contribute to my next video like Jack and Dean, then you can contribute to my Patreon account if you want review scripts, if you want review notes and written reviews and stuff like that. And if you want to request vlogs and etc, you can help support me on Patreon. But if you don't have any finance to support me, that's fine. You can support me by subscribing. You can support me by hitting that like button, because that really helps me out, and of course by commenting. So thank you very much for watching and sticking with me for my top 10 of the year. At some point we'll go over the top 10 worst, but it is not this day. I'll need a bit of time to really wade through all of the crap that 2014 had, because as good as this year was, there's a lot of crap to wade through. So, ladies and gentlemen, I shall see you guys next time.
Trilbee, 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 Trilbee.